Friends of Yemen, stop the bombing now!
Our next speaker is Kate Hudson from the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament.
Thanks very much indeed, Steve, and thanks to everyone for coming along this evening. This is a cause which is long overdue for really massive public recognition, because what's happening in Yemen is an enormous, catastrophic humanitarian disaster. We heard a bit from the previous speaker what the real situation is, but we know that 8 out of 10 children require emergency aid. A child dies every 10 minutes from either malnutrition or easily preventable diseases. And of course there are the cholera outbreaks, terrible cholera outbreaks, inflicting misery on the population there. So in a situation like this, you would expect that the government of a country like Britain likes to think of itself as some decent global leader. You would imagine that they would be sending huge amounts of money and aid to ease that suffering and help the condition, particularly of the children there in Yemen. But no, that is not the case. As we well know, our government is in large part at least responsible for the suffering that is taking place there. Instead of funding humanitarian relief, sending food and aid for the children there, our government is engaging in round about £5 billion worth of arms sales to Saudi Arabia, which is leading the coalition against Yemen. This is a terrible, terrible crime. Now, under Britain's own rules, we are not allowed to sell arms to a government or to a state where war crimes or international humanitarian law will be broken. There are no clearer cases of the breaking of international humanitarian law than what is currently taking place in Yemen. We know that medical facilities are being bombed, children's schools and facilities are being bombed. These are indeed war crimes and the breaking of international humanitarian law. But our own government, as we've heard, discounts that, denies that, and says that it is legitimate for it to sell those weapons. Well, I think what we can conclude is nothing more than that our government is making profit from death and making profit from the death and suffering of hundreds of thousands of children and innocent civilians. So, friends, we must redouble our efforts to raise the public awareness of this, to build the alliances against this terrible, terrible catastrophe, and ensure that our government ends its complicity within it and those responsible are brought to justice. Thank you very much.
Hands off Yemen! Stop the bombing now!